Welcome to another instalment of our video podcast series. I'm Sean Dawson, Head of Insights here at Tavona Cressa. As our period in lockdown starts to draw to a close, our focus is now on that next phase, which is returning back to the workplace. As simple as it sounds, it's likely to be quite complex, not least of all as a result of respecting spatial distancing guidelines. This will ultimately lead to a reorganisation of the office, but is also prompting a wider discussion on office design in the long term. So what better team to have to answer my questions is our design and build team D3. We've got Ben Graves, who leads our D3 business, Tom Aird, our project director, and we've also got Charlie Kent, our senior designer. Ben, I'm going to come to you first. When the lockdown measures were announced, there were obviously a number of schemes and office builds still underway. What happened to those projects?
So, from our experience, what we did was pulled off site on most of our projects as the initial government guidelines came out. Then, kind of following the advice, sort of slightly changing, or certainly the government sort of expressing that they'd like construction to continue where possible. We went back to site on a number of those projects where it was safe to do so. We went back to site putting the sort of health and safety of staff and our supply chain first, so making sure that we had less people on site so that the social distancing measures could be adhered to, and ensuring that welfare was split, that there was enough space for everyone to operate safely. So projects are still being delivered and ongoing, but under sort of stricter safety measures than we were seeing previously.
And Tom, how do you see some of the projects that haven't quite got back to site and up and running as quickly as the ones that Ben has just mentioned? How do you see some of those coming back to life?
Yeah, it's not an easy fix, unfortunately. We can't just flick the switch and get back up to speed. There's the legal side of things with our contracts that typically have a fixed completion date. That's one problem that we've had to encounter for the first time. There's the ethical stance of actually asking contractors to go back to site, making sure our clients are comfortable with it. And actually that's been a conversation that's been led by a client, which is, we're very much a people business. So it's really pleasing to have those conversations very early. But actually, just as Ben says, delivering a site, even with half the amount of labour on it, we're worked out we're less than half as efficient as a building unit as we were before. So programs are slightly extended, and just getting product to site is proving much longer to take much longer than it has done previously. Like I say, no easy fix.
So it's almost a case of managing expectations of every step of the supply chain all the way to the client.
Absolutely.
So talking about managing expectations, Charlie, what can we expect from the return to the office from a design point of view? Initial changes do need to be made. In some cases, the design or even the layout of existing spaces do not lend itself to that social distancing aspect. So any ideas?
Yeah, so we work with such a wide variety of industries and clients that different offices got different requirements. Some have quite a high headcount, some have a lot more space, kind of by the nature of who they are and the businesses that they have. I think one of the kind of first tier things that we'll be looking to do is improve signage for circulation routes, kind of people know which direction to travel in, whether that be around the office itself or to kind of heavy traffic points, to places like printers, breakout areas, toilets and things like that. We need a smart approach to desking and how people know which desk to go to, whether it's assigned, whether it gets cleared down and another team use it another week, whatever it may be. And with that comes storage, the ability for people to be able to stow things away, like their laptops, like their keyboards, like their mice, small little things that you'd use on a day-to-day basis, just so you've got that comfort more than anything, that it's been cleaned down and you're the last person to use it. The other thing are kind of huddle spaces or other high intense spaces where lots of people come together. So again, breakout areas, meeting rooms, any kind of huddle meeting space that you'd have in the open plan. And I think just again, making sure that people understand how many people should be in that space at any one time, how they should use that space. So number one, they are safe, but also they feel comfortable. And then we get on to kind of further measures. We were talking earlier this morning and yesterday about kind of different webinars that we've all watched to get a bit of insight across the industry. And I think the kind of bigger measures that people need to focus on in both existing spaces and any buildings that are being built is to do with ventilation. Ventilation and natural air is going to be key. Again, both to people's safety and to their comfort, as well as kind of replacement of any existing worktops or surfaces that don't have any kind of self-cleaning or antibacterial property. That's definitely something I think we're going to see a big increase on in the next few weeks, months, and so on.
So it sounds initially like it's we need to change that behaviour of ourselves when we're in that workplace, and obviously then we will get used to the surroundings. But with Tom, with the factors in mind that Charlie's just described, what conversations are you having with clients in terms of getting people back to work, in terms of timeframes, cost? Is there anything that is resonating at the moment with your clients?
Yeah, real mixed bag at the minute of clients at various stages of the sort of the job life cycle. So clients that where we've recently finished projects for many months ago, coming back to us asking for how we can adapt their places of work to make them as efficient as possible and places for their staff to feel comfortable in. And at the other end of the spectrum, we've got clients that are now decided, having gone through this working from home experiment for the last few weeks and found that actually it's not too bad. There's always a way around something. Taking that little bit more time to really see how the next few weeks pan out, but also what the future landscape of an office is in general. I think we'll see a lot less face-to-face meetings for quite some time. I think, unfortunately, Zoom's here to stay for a little while yet.
Well, the thing is, we've probably never had so much FaceTime with each other as we have over the past few weeks. So there's a plus to everything. On that point, we'll go straight to Charlie. So Tom just alluded to kind of these are initial things, and then there's wider debate and discussion. Could you just name a couple of things, 2-3 things that could change the office design in the long term, and what will factor into your project going forward?
Yeah, I think, as I said, I think some of the key things are going to be ventilation, and that is going to be down to kind of the fresh air coming through any existing mechanical system, all the way through to buildings being built with more openable windows and so on and so forth, which we, especially in kind of high-rise spaces or large spaces, we thought were largely a thing of the past. So I think that's definitely going to be a big factor of kind of the architectural shift that we see. But again, I think it's down to people feeling comfortable. Like, culture is a massive thing for any business, whatever that style of culture is, and it's something that can't be touched. And I think the comfort of people feeling safe within their office space and educated in how to use it, educated in what the business is doing to protect them, are going to be big factors that we see defining design over the next, as I say, few weeks, months, years, whatever it may be.
So it's primarily with its well-being, the health credentials of space, and then obviously that will flow through into the actual design and functionality of a space. Definitely,
and it's not something we're strangers to, or that it's overly new. It's just this new kind of version of it. It's a regeneration of it. We work to the WELL standard as a standard anyway within all of our designs, and we put the kind of care and the personal use of the user first, over and above the kind of number of people you can fit in or anything else that could be within a brief. So it's not unusual to us, but it's definitely an adaptation of what we were working on before.
And Ben, there's a lot to take in from what you guys have been saying in such a short space of time. But businesses will be trying to understand how best to position their workplace to enable that return to work. What is D3 doing to help facilitate that?
I think, in all honesty, at the moment, the way we're helping our clients is by offering the kind of advice that you've heard from Charlie and Tom. Really, we're really trying to listen to what's being said in the market, other thought leadership. And we're just helping our clients with how we know their businesses and how we think they might be able to adapt for not just day one and the immediate return to the office, but how do the next sort of couple of years look like? We don't have all the answers, but we're trying our best to kind of help where we can with our clients and sort of potential future clients that we're speaking to.
So from everything that you've been saying, it sounds like that this is a marathon to get back to the office and to get back to some elements of what we're used to, rather than a sprint. And obviously we have to take into account whether it's the supply chains to enable us to return back to work, or even just the actual drive of us of each worker wanting to get back into that office space. Well, I just want to thank you guys for your time. So Ben, Charlie and Tom, much appreciated. And if anybody has any questions regarding to the design of their office space or getting back into work, then please contact the team. All details are on the D3 website, including our latest blog and a peek at their latest projects as well. Thanks very much.